check. Make sure it looks good.
Yeah. Okay. So we live. Oh man. Oh, my phone's right there for the bombs. Let me go over here and do this. YouTube.
Yep, it's good.
I was gonna say, ain't nobody checking for us.
Megan's there. Sammy D's there. We live. Margarita. She's there. Hey, Margarita. Okay, let me turn off my sound. Okay. Hey, Josie. She said, hi, Daisy. Hi, y'all. They coming in. Get those likes ready. Let me see.
Hey, little mama. Show look nice.
Hey, everyone. Mr. Brando's getting ready over there.
Sorry about the delay, y'all. Really appreciate y'all's patience.
Just a little technical difficulty.
Little bit. Who's all in the hizzy? Let me see. Man, who's out here rocking with me?
Daisy's in the hizzy.
Says I got one person in here. Right over there, it says I got like
No, you got more than
53
that.
people.
You got more than that. Your system is lagging.
I got 23 likes, 53 people. Man, that's real. That's real love. Man, Merry Christmas. I don't really know. You could celebrate Kwanzaa. You could be happy Ramadan maybe, or possibly, you know, shalom to all my Jewish friends out there.
Wait, what Kwanzaa?
Kwanzaa. I'm trying to think of all the religious holidays that correspond around Christmas time. Celebrate the new year. I'm just trying to be respectful to all nationalities, all races. I don't really believe in just singling out one person and being like, well, Merry Christmas. I got people from all over the world watching me. You know, over 1 million views. We doing good. I want to make sure everybody knows I recognize my Jewish folks. Happy Hanukkah. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing.
Spam the chat with your holiday. Let's see. Oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. My bad.
We going long, so y'all might as well go ahead and chill for 2 minutes while I get everything going. Corporate practitioner, Megan, good to see you. Always a pleasure. Megan runs all the financial end of it. Megan, remind me to get you with you about a customer refund of $100. We'll make sure that happens. Sammy D, what's going on? Margarita, man. Margarita, you know my answer. You know it's yes. Yeah, I like that one. I like that a lot. Josie, aloha amalaho. Alita, good evening. Willie Clayton, howdy. Douglas, BB, hi from Reno. Tanisha James. That's a pretty name, Tanisha. You know what I'm saying? I like that. It's a good name. Luis, Jose, you're her. Mrs. B, my co-host in my right hand, everything, man. I put that on everything. That's my girl, man. I love her to death. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for putting up with all the crap I do, even through this Christmas holiday. You know me, I'm a giver. Y'all say Miss BB one time in the chat, spam it, because you know I really owe her. You can spam Miss BB, you can spam Megan too, because between both of them two, I know I drive them crazy. Daisy and me, we rock steady because you rock with me and I'm rocking with y'all, right? Look at you, my little Schaefer baby. Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. I can't wait to put your Christmas scarf on you. Malcolm, what's up? Pierre Moore, what's going on? Sammy D, of course. Shanta the plug. You see I'm wearing red polo. Marco, what's going on? You and your cousin, man, what's up with the airport? Shout out Financial Fridays because you know what's going down. AJ Jordan, he said, hello, Mrs. Brando? Mrs. Brando? I guess he's talking to you?
No, he meant probably Mr. Brando.
Okay, you know, I'm trying to figure it out. TGIF for real. Terry Roberts, what's going on? Margarita Man, Malcolm Caesar, what's going on? We got 66 people. We got how many likes? 44 likes. We rocking with the 70 people. Chris Clough, what's going on? It's gang all day. You know it's gang. And we got Mary Saunders. Glad to have you, Miss Mary. You and your husband are an essential part of what we got going on. Eduardo Martinez Santana. Hello, beautiful family. Blessings for Puerto Rico. And if you don't know, now you know. Puerto Rico is my spot. San Juan is my spot. So you want to know where I'm going to dwell? Man. Shout out Miss BB, get me the new glasses. I can see extra good. Tammy Gold, what's going on? Armando, good to see
You
you.
can see extra good.
Tanisha, you know what I'm saying? You welcome, man. I think people should celebrate people. We talked about today. Today was a day of self-reflection and giving, and I think that too many people don't get their flowers, if that makes sense. I like your name. It's beautiful. There's a lot of people who got beautiful names, but I saw your name. I read it. I want to shout you out because you know what? Everybody deserves a lot of love. Denise. Hey, Denise, what's going on, girl? Monster Jesus Fishing. Man, I hope you catching the biggest Monster Jesus. Laws of Matt. Mayat. I might be saying that wrong. You know, konnichiwa, and good to see you, my friend Carlos. Hey, Mr. Brandy. It's Brando, but you know, I get your vibe. Maxwell. Bahamas in the hizzy. You know what it is. I really do well in island countries, and I really do well on like, United States, Canada, Mexico. But like to all my island neighbors, brothers, sisters, Hawaii, Malaysia, the U.S. Virgin Islands, all my friends in Puerto Rico, I got a special heart for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I got a spot in my soul for my island folk because you know where you going.
To the island.
To the islands. Senor Fate, man, that dude been rocking with me for so long. Pierre Moore, Kendall, good to see you. William Parks, TH, what's up? TH been with us a while too, man. I really want to shout that to people that have really been out with us. You know what I mean? Doing their thing, making it happen, and God bless. Now, I have a question for everybody. I can do a technical show about news, or I can do an untechnical show about what's actually my vision for what's going on in Iraq right now with no cap. I have the research to back it up. It doesn't really matter which one I do, but I'm asking the chat right now, everybody that's live with us, would you rather hear something truly technical about news, or would you really want to hear the theory about what's going on? Let's rumble through it. It's going to take about 30 minutes, and we can get through it. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me now. Regina, what's going on, girl? Good evening, Miss. Good evening, First Lady of Dinar. That's really sweet. Mrs.
Hi
BB
there,
and Mr.
Regina.
Brando and everyone else. Thanks, Regina. That's very sweet of you, honey. Oscar,
Regina's been a day one.
man, for real, man. She rides with the crew. Man, when you ride with a gang, throw up your fingers like this too. Cause we ride, man. We ride, man, all the time. Love, love, love. Theory, theory, theory. Everybody want to hear theory. I got a hell of a theory. I'm just being honest with you. I have a theory that's so Trump tight that when I tell y'all this story, y'all gonna think, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the space. You got some people talking about, well, there's a lot of talk about exchange rate and the dinar. I've got boots on the ground. I hear this. I hear that. I have all those things, plus I have a theory. I told you last week about the theory about the E dinar or the DDR dinar or the DDRST dinar or the DDRT dinar. Because remember, dinar, come on, baby, wait. DDRT
I don't remember
is the treasury one.
ticker.
Yeah, DDRS was the stable. It's DigiDinar. DigiDinar. I really believe in a digital atmosphere in which Iraq is going to partner with not only the Middle East but France and other places. I'm going to tell you about that because there's some huge news about that, and I really think that that's going to be the cross settlement platform. There's news about that also, but I think to really do this justification, I really got to do the theory. We're at 101 people. We're at 66 likes. I think let's do this. Let's really make this happen, okay? Let's really do this. Y'all want bombs or no bombs? Bombs or no bombs?
I'm gonna go keep bugging me about a picture of Daisy. I gotta put this down.
April's creating an NFT about Daisy, so that's what she's doing.
Yeah. And he wants pictures of her in the light.
Okay.
Okay.
Bombs over Baghdad. Let's do this. Let's do the bombs. Woo! First of all, I'm going way old school with this one. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, you talk too much. Don't do it. I am Mr. Brando! Welcome back, y'all.
Daisy, look this up.
I want to tell you about a theory that I have between now and February. I'm not saying that February is the drop dead date for me, but I'm telling you why I think between now and February is actually going to be the opportune time for us to realize our dreams and to see what's actually happening. I want to list it off chronologically for you guys. The Silk Road now and the return to the glory days through blockchain, that's one. 1A is a fully exonerated letter from the United Nations specifying Iraq is out of Chapter 7. 2, officials in place. 1 being the PM, 2 being the Speaker of the House, 3 being the Prime Minister. 3, the CBR already said they cannot return back to 1200 to 1 because of inflationary measures. It's not going to happen. 4, Sauder must do something to give the people some encouragement, at least drop one of the 3 zeros or drop several. 6,
Several, please.
a seated GOI laws passed, meaning the laws that are coming up, money laundering, depositor, stuff like that that protects the investor because they're asking for all this outside investor help. Now's the time to get it. 6, an amendment to the Constitution, meaning that you actually see them start, when the new GOI is formed, start talking about formalizing the laws for the HCL in Article 140. On Tuesday, it had been prepared a draft currency study while determining the negative effects when the dollar was re-exchanged to 1,200 dinars. The reason why 1,201 doesn't work, because you've already seen an inflation of about 8%. So if you could revert it back to what they were talking about at about 1,200 to 1, inflation still was about 6%. So to get inflation to 0, they know that every tick backwards on how much the currency is worth versus the dollar goes in the favor of inflation, meaning that the citizens have more money to spend. Henceforth, what they do is they spend it in the marketplace. Everyday goods and shopping, on retail goods, and on homes, loans, stuff like that. The governor of the central bank revealed on Tuesday that the country's exchange reserves had risen to above 64 billion. Now, this is where I come in with a little bit of theory. If I was an Iraqi citizen, I would be screaming, what's going on? Because there's no way that the Iraqi government should have coffers of 64 billion and the HCL law is not passed. The HCL law says that every Iraqi citizen is entitled to share with the Iraqi government proceeds from their sales of oil. So if they're not paying the citizens, they're ripping them off. So I hear they're up $64 billion, and I think to myself, why aren't the citizens up in arms about the HCL? They're up in arms about the exchange rate. They are arguing that, they're every day fighting that, but they're not really talking about the HCL law. It's very, very interesting. That's a theory. Keep that in mind. Now, with regards to the central bank's foreign currency reserves, the bank stated that the total foreign currency reserves during the month of December amounted to $63.793 billion, pointing out the volume of the net foreign reserves during the current month reached $59.9 billion. The advisors to the Financial Committee revealed that the country's external debt has decreased by $20 billion. And here's part of the theory. If you have a B plus credit score, and I'm asking this as a CPA, because you are a CPA, correct? I mean, am I telling the truth?
No, I'm not.
I mean, you're a financial, hold on, an accountant, okay, not a CPA.
I'm not certified.
Certified, let's say that. That's fair, right? And I'm talking about Mr. Brando, okay? Mm-hmm. Mr. Brando has a B plus credit score with Standard & Poor, Moody, a few other people, right? But Mr. Brando suddenly falls into a windfall of money, and he's able to pay all of his creditors off and prove to the bank that because of the forecast of what's going on right now, I can show that oil is not going to only be above $75, but it could exceed $150. My budget's only $50, so I have no external debt or internal debt. What happens to my credit score?
It goes up if you have no debt.
Up if I have no debt. So Iraq, we know for a fact, has already said going into 2022, they will have no debt. External or internal. Kuwait's paid off. That's the biggest part of the reparations. That's what's going against their credit score. That's what's hindering them from being a B plus credit rating all the way to an A minus, which is actually investment grade paper, right? Okay, so we agree on that. Will the Security Council remove Iraq from Chapter 7 sanctions? The answer to that is absolutely yes. And you're going to say, well, how do you know that so clearly, Mr. Brando? Because I know what's going on with the WTO, and I know who their sponsors are, and I know who the participants are in the Silk Road, and I'm going to share all those with you right now. And when you look at it by votes, we have more votes to get them passed on because it's important to the European Union as well as these other countries to make this happen right now so that Iraq can achieve some type of economic reform so that their currency will not only be international, but it could hold some value. Could. I'm going to show you. I told you last week how. By the E-dinar settlement of payments, you base it in the E-dinar, it's on blockchain. I told you that last week. But I'm telling you now that this is how it can happen. Forcibly as it may be, Iraq has paid all of its legal, political, and financial obligations on its resolutions of the Security and the United Nations Council, following the previous regime's invasion of Kuwait. Now, before that, if you go back to the 70s, Iraq's currency was worth a whole lot. I believe Saddam Hussein took over in 79 or 80, and from 80 to the 90s, they kind of fell apart. Their currency truly wasn't worth what it was worth back then. So, to take it back to the glory days, and remember what we talked about, on Iraqi TV right now, anybody that's worth their weight in salt, and shout out to Paul, shout out to all my people. I have Iraqi TV, and I've heard the commercials myself, and I owe you all an apology right now. It's not the 50K dinar that was retired. It was the 50K, or it was the 50 note. I apologize to each and every one of you right now. I told you something that was untrue. I'm here correcting it. I hope that holds some weight with you because I was wrong and I don't want to confuse anybody. If you hold 50K notes, you are fine. If you hold 50 notes, I would worry. Okay. Let's get to the end of this because I have my notes. Why will the UN Security Council pass through Iraq with no problems if they already haven't done so? I venture to guess because they put it in print, it's already actually been passed, and I'll tell you why. Because the European Union is holding Iraq's hand through the ascension process. That's basically their mentor. And they've already said that it's in the best benefit for Iraq, for them being one of their top trade partners and everything else, that they go through the trade process because they're already using the WTO's rules to make sure that their trade partnership is in correlation with each other. So listen to me. It's in Europe's best interest, not the United States, not the president, none of that crap, but it's in Europe's best interest for them to go through because they're already working under the guidelines that the WTO set, and there's already been a union since 2012 between Iraq and the European Union. The white papers come into play because what happens there is it was a dual blueprint for what's going on right now. It was for economic reform, and it was also for economic success in a pandemic society because they raised $64 billion by reducing the value of the dinar in a crisis situation where they did not know what oil was going to do. So what they did was they reverted back, changed the barrel per oil back, and guess what? Now they're up $64 billion. And that's part of the white paper. You can go research it and read it for yourself. And to the person that told me this, if I thought I was so smart that I would guess the actual date of an RV, first of all, it's a reinstatement. The CBI has already stated they will first not devalue the currency, worsen what it is, and number two, they'll work within the currency to make sure they add value to it. So if you were so smart to give me that comment, at least get the stuff straight you're trying to ask me.
Gurkha said the note, the 50 dinar note,
Uh-huh.
was retired in 2014.
And I can be wrong. And I stand corrected. The 50K note is not retired.
Right.
I'm wrong. Listen, I'm
No,
not
I
above
was just
reproach.
giving. I was
No, no,
just
no, no.
giving you.
I'm not being defensive. I'm just saying I'm not beyond reproach. I was wrong. Completely wrong about that. But I've been right about a few other things, so I hope that helps out also.
Yeah, you kind of Jordish.
Yeah, I am. I am kind of Jordan. Any of my people that out there that trade options, go out late into 2022 and long oil to go over $120.
So I should stay in my oil.
Yeah, you should.
And I don't have options. I just have a stock.
CNBC today came out with an article that said oil, in fact, should go way beyond $100 and probably up to $150. I said oil could go as high as $200, but hey, I don't think it's going to hit 200, but 150 it definitely could. Now it did have a decrease this week of about 8%. And I joked with this about the Facebook group, and I said, "Oh no, the oil's only worth $74.90 a barrel. What will Iraq ever do?" Well, we know what they're doing when they base their budget at $50. They're making money hand over fist, creating a war chest so that when they do go international, and remember, there are a few things that are about to happen in the next 60 days that Iraq actually has to be international to go through. And I'm going to talk about those also, okay? So please, you can say, well, you said February, and if it doesn't happen, you could say that. But based upon the information that we know that's in print, actual print, not someone telling me, nothing else, but that's in print, you have to look at February as a very viable date for Iraq to be international. That doesn't mean that the currency has to increase in value. But if you're involved in the stock exchange, you should be shouting above anything and almost in tears. Because if Iraq starts making money in February via LISX, that means it'll put money in your pocket second, third, and fourth quarter, hopefully, depending on the outreach of what's going on. To increase the economic cooperation with Kuwait, announces the opening of the Abu Dhabi port next week. So I will once again frame this question to the group. We all know that Kuwait, via the Kuwait conference, said there's no way we're doing anything inside of Iraq unless you've paid us off. We know for a fact that the payments have been taken off the books as far as the IRS, and we also know, and here's a bomb. This is a real bomb. Has anybody speculated it to this point yet? Why is the last payment not going to be in petrodollars but be in factual Iraqi dinar? Why would a country take worthless currency? That's a bomb. Kuwait's final payment will be in dinar, not petrodollars.
Easy for you to bomb.
Those borders opening tell me right away that the Kuwait conference is settled and Kuwait is cool with the situation economically going on inside of Iraq. We know they're okay with it. The reason why we know they're okay with it because Kuwait is actively saying, open up the borders, let's sign these MOUs, let's get things going. Kuwait said they would never do these things unless they were paid off. The thing that I want you to take away from this discussion today is France is actually financing the satellite for telecommunications that is going inside, or not going inside, it's going to aid Iraq in its telecommunications. They're going with a satellite. I want you guys to understand that China didn't give them a loan. No one else. The IMF and the World Bank's the only people that have loaned Iraq money. Everything was written off basically before that by the Paris Agreement because it was pre-Saddam days or post-Saddam days with arms and stuff like that with the United States. So for France to step up and say, hey, look, Iraq, if you want us to build you a satellite, we will finance you. To finance said satellite, I've looked it up, it could be between $300 million or as expensive as Egypt's $1.25 billion satellites that's for defense. The important part is that someone other than the IMF or the World Bank is actually loaning Iraq money in terms. Hence the reason for the thumbnail. You'll see it in a few minutes. But Iraq is actually now in a position that they can borrow money from a country. That's massive. That's a bomb. How is that possible? Because people that are in the space like we are actually watching it and saying Iraq is a worthy credit person. They're the ninth richest economy in the world. They're searching all the time in Western Iraq right now, from the Saudi Arabian border from Iraq for oil mines once they clear out the mines that are there. And guess what? They're thinking that there's more oil there than a lot of other regions that are inside of Iraq. So they're probably going to topple one day Saudi Arabia. If I had a guess, I would guess to say that I would think that Iraq has probably at least as much oil inside of it as Saudi Arabia does. So now it's not 1 and 1, it's 1 and 1A. However you want to voice those opinions. What does borrowing from a country as opposed to the IMF or World Bank mean to the average investor? Off the balance sheet treatment of the debt financing, it maximizes. Hold on here. Where did I lose it to? Oh, there it is. It maximizes the leverage of the project. It obtains the financial conditions when the credit risk of the project is better than the credit standing of the sponsor. Listen to that. Obtain a better financial condition when the credit risk, which would be Iraq, of the project, which is the satellite, than the credit standing of the sponsor. So meaning that even if you're loaning somebody money and you know that they might not be the best risk, but depending on the project and depending on the sponsor, you give that country an opportunity to excel in credit rating to help that country out. Now, allow the lenders to appraise a project on a segregated stance alone. Now, 6 criteria used to assess requests for financing. It's the caliber of business principles. Principles are the primary source of fuel for business projects. We know that France is famous for creating satellites not only for defense, but for Qualcomm and other countries that, help make the world a better place through 5G and helping expand internet services. Business environment and risk. Here's the part about Chapter 7 that if anybody's involved in this investment ought to know. Chapter 7 says that it's not that you're free from all these things. It says that safety and security is happening inside of the region. Project credibility. Is this project credible? I would say expanding the internet services for telecommunication as far as news and everything else is concerned for transparency reasons alone is a very good reason why Iraq should expand. Companies' ability to pay and financial structure. I would ask each and every one of you guys this. Let's say Mr. Brando is your deadbeat uncle. Okay? I ain't paid nobody. Would you loan me $100 so I could buy groceries? Then why would you loan a country that basically has an undervalued currency that's not out from under international sanctions and is still in Chapter 7 of a UN agreement money to build a satellite? And security. Again, I go back to Chapter 7 of the UN agreement, and I'm going to discuss with you that part of that is safety and security within the region. This is so elementary. Now, there are also talks about the French loan and coordination for the purpose of financing, which remember, in principality, you have to have a reason for doing it. The Iraqi satellite project and speeding up its implementation. Speeding up. They're not waiting on implementation to do this. Why is France taking this credit risk when they don't have to? Can I get a number 7? I don't. If you ain't feeling what I'm laying down, man, you need to check out. Qualcomm is a multinational corporation for designing and manufacturing semiconductors, wireless communications, telecommunication projects. However, the Egyptian president was expected to sign a $1.2 billion arms deal with the French president. Why? For the purpose of building a satellite for Egypt for,
Where do you see that?
what's right here.
You said Qualcomm?
Qualcomm is a country. No, excuse me.
Company. I used to work for them.
I know Qualcomm's a San Diego company. They have offices in San Diego as well as, I think, 30 other places in the world. Inside of France, Qualcomm's a major player for building satellites. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that as a basis or a red line for someone to build said satellite, Qualcomm, because of its telecommunication background, would be a worthy, partner to do so.
Mm-hmm. I was just curious. I heard that word, so I was just like, oh, okay.
Now, let's get to the reason why I say February is an important time. Europe and Iraq have been in talk for many years for them to be sovereign. Europe is sponsoring Iraq through the ascension of the WTO, which forms a legal basis between two partners. The EU sees closer trade ties with Iraq as an important part of the reconstruction and development of Iraq. But they also see them as a major player inside of what we call the Silk Road or the Belt Road Initiative. If you look inside of that said initiative, there are over 30 countries that signed on to that treaty, one of them being Europe and one of them being France. No, that's the wrong one. How many times do I have to tie this back to the fundamentals? Follow the money. The money goes back to Asia and the money goes back to Europe. France and Europe are financing everything with a lack of U.S. involvement. So, in my first part of this conclusion, everybody wonders where I get to talk about the euro and Iraq and why the ascension of the WTO is important, because it happens in February. The EU supports Iraq's ascension to the WTO and believes that the WTO membership will enhance structural reform in the country and the reintegration into the multilateral trading system. The EU-Iraq Partnership and Cooperation Agreement is a non-preferential trade agreement which uses the basics of the WTO. And in my conclusion, before I tell you guys what's happening next week, I'm going to say this. This all ties together so that everybody understands there are over 40 countries to sign on the Silk Road Initiative or the Belt Road Initiative, France being one of them. Do you think that France would invest in a satellite, or that the EU would come in to help set up strategic banking situations? Why are all these countries that tie together through these initiatives working together to make sure that Iraq is not only a pivotal point inside of the region, but the hub for trade and finance forever? With the U.S. only leaving 2,500 troops that are in an advisory role only, I would ask each and every one of you, don't you think this will truly make Iraq sovereign in the eyes of the WTO and as well as the world? I'm not guessing the actual dollar value of the Iraqi dinar, but based on knowing that they're the 9th most wealthiest country in the world, they have oil reserves that are untapped in the western part of it, that are going to be in a pipeline that's going to be cross-border settled, and that settlement will be in blockchain, which are smart contracts, correct? I mean, not correct, but that's how they call it, smart contracts, right? That Iraq not only can be a player in the game, they can lead the whole game. Next week, I will be not doing the show. It's my birthday. For my birthday month, I usually celebrate for a month. But in this instance, I'm only celebrating it for 1 week.
You ready for some questions?
Yeah, I'm ready for some questions. So I'm letting y'all know, next Friday, I'm not doing any show. I'm going to enjoy the holidays with my family. I'm going to kick back, eat turkey, and get fat. Fatter than I am.
Are those redemption centers open?
In Europe, there are rumors of redemption centers. In Europe, but not in the United States. That's a complete lie. In Europe, they actually do have redemption centers.
Do you think that oil will go up because the value of the dollar will actually go down?
No, because the two go hand in hand. Oil will go up because travel will go up. As they loosen the restrictions because of the pandemic, what will happen is more jet fuel will be used. And once the world starts to move cross borders and cross nations, oil will go up because it will become supply and demand.
I don't know if this is a question or a statement. He has a question mark behind it. Were we done with the petrodollar 7 weeks ago? Weeks-ish?
I'm telling you right now, I'm done with the petrodollar as soon as Iraq reinstates their currency to international status. I don't believe in the dollar. I'm fully vetted in Swiss franc, and I'm fully vetted inside of the euro. My personal opinion.
Your favorite question?
Yeah.
When will the when will it RV bro?
When hell freezes over, the devil learns to ice skate. How about that one? Pick up a book and read.
Who is the trustee for the bankruptcy?
What bankruptcy?
That's
To,
what,
there's no bankruptcies involved with countries. Specify what you're talking about.
um how much 1 dinar equal $1?
Figure it out for yourself. Figure out what the relationship between the pipeline settlement, cross-border settlements between the four countries. I've already told you. Figure it out. I'm not here to give dollar amounts or dates. I don't do that.
Do you really think that Iraq is going to revalue its currency? I mean, it's
Yeah,
so
this.
much corruption to deal with, not only to mention Iran influence. Just curious.
Okay, I'll ask this question. With the corruption that goes inside of the United States government, do I think that the dollar will hold true above 70 cents? Absolutely. Yeah, I do.
One person asked, the satellite equal blockchain?
No, satellite equals there's a loan that happened between France and Iraq, and no other country, not even China, gave them a loan. With China, they actually had to put $100 million into escrow, and they could pull from that if they didn't get their certain amounts of oil. So, no, France would be the true first person to say, I will loan Iraq government money based upon their current credit situation, his economic situation.
Senior Fate says his birthday is next week as well.
Shout out.
Chris Clough says, happy birthday, Mr. B. Early.
Thank you.
Maxwell. Wait, I lost it. So what you're saying is that once Iraq is international, regardless if the currency changes, we bought blocks will be collecting funds.
Based upon what happens in the marketplace going henceforward. So the idea with the LISX blocks is because they're launching it over in Europe, because they're international and they've taken off all the restrictions as far as investors go, depositors go, and as far as protecting the investor, know your customer, all that stuff. When it goes over to Europe and it gets sold, that stock exchange will explode because it's ground floor. So yeah, hopefully going past second quarter into the third quarter, there will be revenues that can be shared amongst block members because we have a very. I'll give it to you like this. So in America, let's say the dollar's a dollar. You can argue it's 70 cents or 50 cents. For semantics, a dollar is a dollar. What's Amazon stock right now?
Like I think 4,000 or something.
$4,000. If you own about 1 billion shares, and if you get an average stock evaluation of $1, that gives your company a basic evaluation of $1 billion. You do the math. I don't need all of them to hit $500. I need them to hit $1. That's what I'm betting on. $1. I'm saying my odds are pretty freaking good. That's why I told everybody why you could invest inside of LISX. Because regardless of whatever the currency does, stocks are going to do differently than actual currency.
Someone said thanks for answering my question.
Of course.
How long will it take once Iraq is out of Chapter 7 to go international?
As soon as the announcement's made publicly. I would venture to guess if I was a betting man, right after you announce the GOI. Because right after you announce the GOI, guess what? All you got to do is come up with 3 presidencies. Basically, Halabusi will probably be the speaker based upon his blocks. Calzimi will probably be the president because they like him. And the third person, who really doesn't matter, which is the president, which has usually occurred, will be a figurehead. If not Barras Saleh again, it'll probably be someone just like him. Not in the way, not out of the way that's diplomatically speaking presentable to the countries, but really has no say so inside of it.
Are the redemption centers in place in Europe to exchange dinar?
No, redemption centers right now are in place right now because they have redemption centers actually in Europe. That myth about the dinar and redemption centers is absolute based in crap. But there are actual redemption centers in Europe if you look it up.
Oh, let's see. Oh, Josie says happy birthday
Thank
and
you.
many with many blessings.
Thank you.
Berka says shalom.
Shalom. And Abdullah.
And
Him do Allah.
Daisy's fighting sleep. She's
And thank you, Jesus, and everything else.
Bye, Daisy. Get out.
Get out. Go. You can't behave.
She's sleeping. She was falling asleep.
Sit down. Listen to the story. You're sleepy. You're like a petulant child.
Fighting sleep.
It's coming. Yeah, it has to come because in February, the final ascension of the WTO to Iraq is supposed to happen. So in February, yeah, you should be international. That's the takeaway from all this.
The chat's being hit with happy birthdays.
Oh, it is? Oh.
You gotta catch up, man.
Oh, okay. When they say return to glory days, what days are referring to? When their currency had some economic value within the marketplace globally and it was respectable. And that goes to Darnell the Bachelor. Margarita Man, Miss BB, Mr. B just made my Friday. Man, I didn't make your Friday. This comes out every single day in the news. It really does, y'all. If you read the news, I'm telling you, I'm only regurgitating what I read. Not with an opinion. If you string it all together, it's really elementary.
Senior Faith says, what do you believe will happen first thing? Let me see. What do you believe is the first thing that will happen once everything flips?
You'll see a reduction of the 3 zeros based upon the CBI report that says, A, they will not redenominate their currency, and B, they will not go to 12 to 1. So I expect them to delete some zeros off of their currency henceforth pretty quick. And then from there, I expect it to either float or to peg to something such as the E-dinar or something like the euro and for it to run its course.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you too, Donna. Sammy D says Dr. Shabibi was the GOAT.
Dr. Shabibi is also the person in charge of one of the funds that's helping Iraq through this ascension process, not just to the WTO, but walking it through to making its currency international again. Dr. Shabibi is the GOAT.
Oh,
Al Sadar has an opportunity to be a GOAT. Sadar has an opportunity to be the GOAT.
Senior Faith, you and Brandon are 2 days apart.
Oh, we are? So what is he, 24 or
Yeah.
24? Mm-hmm. Shalom. Hey, Linda, good to find you too. Hey, there's my niece, Nia. Hey, Nia, good to see you. Naya. Correct me if I'm wrong. Purple Hearts.
It's okay.
Nino says hello. He says the RV was supposed to happen in August 2020. BD, show me proof of that. There's no proof of that anywhere. Anywhere. What had to happen had to happen. If you've ever watched The Matrix, this is exactly that thing. What everything that had to be, had to be. They had to pay off Kuwait. Can be no reinstatement. A revaluation is a lop. Why would I want to see them lop the currency? That's ludicrous.
John has a question.
Shoot, John.
When do the remaining forces leave the country? Did they leave completely?
They said that the European forces have already left. The only persons left that are U.S. military have all been flipped to advisory roles, and there's 2,500 of them. So there's nobody protecting Iraq. It's not like Afghanistan. This was well planned and well trained. So no, we're not expecting an Afghanistan outset. Now, if there's a blow up and somehow there's some like super ISIS or super militia there, then all this goes to hell in a handbasket. But there's no indications of any of that happening right now. BD says off a year. 19, still no evidence of that.
Sammy D says, I'm wondering when the U.S. Army leaves Iraq, will it be televised?
It already was. They already printed in U.S. News that there's only 2,500 actual soldiers on ground in Iraq right now, not counting contractors, just U.S. military personnel, which are called advisors.
When the ISX, let's see, when you the ISX, where can we go to invest, or will we have to wait until they go international?
I'm invested in ISX right now. You got to look that up.
Do other neighboring countries have similar HCO laws for their citizens?
Well, you got to think we do in this country in Alaska. Kuwait does inside of their country, and so does Saudi Arabia. So yeah, it's a common practice to have a hydrocarbon law that shares in the oil factions amongst the citizens. Yeah, it's common practice.
Mr. Brando, does Iraq need a seated government for the RI to occur?
Yes, you can't run a company without a board of directors. That's first. Before you ever get to the board of directors, you got to have a president, a vice president, all the other crap. So yeah, I don't see them. They're not going to announce anything before there's a seat of government. And I'm telling you, between now and February, that seat of government will take place. It has to.
TH says soldiers are there to protect the U.S. Embassy.
I'm sure.
Darnell asks, when you refer to the ISS, where can you go to invest, or would we have? Oh, I think I asked that.
Look up, if you want to invest, you need about 10 grand. You need to go inside of the Iraqi Stock Exchange. Once you go there, you can figure out all the information. That's what I had to do.
Okay. Got 175 faithful viewers. You got 116 likes.
That's it? 116? Can we get 130 likes, please? I'm just
Does
joking.
Iraq have its full sovereignty based on the 2,500 advisors?
I would say yes, because they're not there to occupy, they're just there to aid. Number two, Kuwait opened up its borders. Number three, the ascension. So yeah, Iraq is its own sovereign nation. The European Union is going to make sure that they're released from Chapter 7. I can guarantee you that, because they are a major trade partner inside of Iraq.
Oh, Ricky's must have just chimed in. Is the 50K notes valid? Yes, they are. It was the 50 dinar note that was decommissioned.
Correct.
2014. Daisy, stop that.
You're still sitting there, honey? Good girl.
Yeah, she's trying to get your attention. John said, thank you for your knowledge and sharing.
Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for paying attention. Thank you for trying to, give us an opportunity to give you accurate news based on fact and based on stuff you can look up, not some hocus pocus, whatever.
I went through most of them earlier in the show when you were talking about.
That means don't stop buying. I mean, you don't ever stop investing into an investment until you're done with it. We invest in it periodically because we really feel that what we're doing is going to betterment our economic situation. That doesn't mean it's right for everybody else. I buy dinar, I don't sell it because I really believe in the investment. And I believe that if you're going to sit here and talk about the investment and be someone that calls himself helping people understand it, instead of me telling you stuff where I'm giving them something, where I've done that in the past, where I've given YouTubers and crap things to help them, aid them. No, I ponied up, I paid my own money, like a big boy or a big girl, and I invested.
And invest what you can afford to tie up.
You only invest. I mean, why would you invest money you don't have?
This is not financial advice, but with anything, you invest what you can afford to have tied up. She needs to go to bed. Get out of here. Go. Crazy. She done disconnected the mic. Move the camera. Get out.
Go. Go. Sit down. Sit down. Daisy's more excited about this than I am.
She needs to go to bed.
Iraq will have its full sovereignty once they're fully released from Chapter 7. And they are in the process of doing that now. And I really believe it's already happened based upon what's happening with Europe.
Somebody want a dog. She just knocked down everything.
No, just Josh, and I'm not saying that before the Iraqi dinar reinstates or comes to value that ISX will have an opportunity for value. What I'm saying that it's a great probability that that could happen based upon when they launch in the European market. Yeah, Daisy tripping for real. Daisy trying to take over the show and rap on the mic.
She was over here falling asleep during the show. Crazy.
No, there is no more investment inside of the ISX outside of the group. You had your chance to join. I told you guys to join. I told you about other groups to join. So if you didn't join by now, for my group, it's over. We're going to sit back and if internally they want to invest, we'll deal with it on an individual purpose or purchase only, and it has to be a substantial amount because we're not just sending money over to send it over.
You look like a managed child. You over here laughing. I'm looking at you laugh at that whole interaction.
All right, y'all. Well, you turn it off, babe.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Good to see y'all.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I'll see you after the holiday, y'all. Be blessed. Stay stressed.